I haven't been making my typical styled artworks for a while now, and the latest ones were mainly about negative space art. Plus, it's quite hard to make these creations that aren't really useful in my videos. I mean, my purpose here is to educate and entertain you, and showing off artworks that have been done a ton won't really be interesting. There are also a lot of videos already teaching and explaining these concepts. Well, I got an idea. An idea that will help me create some interesting arts and force me to create an artwork within a short time frame. Hear me out. So, I have 3 lines of 10 words here, each with numbers, and the lines of 3 are split into the main subject, the other subject, and the feeling of the artwork. Let's first focus on the first line. Here I have a random number generator, and when I click, it picks a number from 1 to 10. It chose 8. So, our main subject is going to be trees. Now for the second line, 7. So that means our secondary subject is going to be the battery. For the last line, 4. So the feel of the artwork should be rainy. So our first artwork has to comprise of trees, battery, and rain. Did you get it? Rewatch that part if you're still not sure. You may be thinking, this is weird, why try this out? That's the point, it's meant to be weird. Say for example, your artwork needs a hand, a popsicle, and it needs to be personified. Well, draw something ridiculous like this. The point is I get to challenge my art skills and try and combine these things into an interesting artwork within an hour. Yes, an hour. Now note that I am not a professional artist and I'm still learning things in regard, like drawing characters and painting, and I'm only doing this for the sake of challenge and fun. My goal isn't to make some masterpiece or extremely realistic or spectacular art, but to make something that appeals to the subjects and feel of the artwork while still making it unique and appealing. I'll be showcasing 3 artworks in this video. Now let's see how the first artwork goes. This artwork is inspired from coast redwood trees, the tallest trees in the world. So I started to draw the trunks and the leaves as well. I didn't really know what I was doing, so I painted the sky, drew some more trees and even more leaves, then deleting it all. Anyways, ground detail. I made some cracks along the way using my trusty pen sharp brush. If you're using Medibang, this is a good tool to make cracks along the landscape if used in the right way. Next, I drew some more rocks, and I added some greenery and details to the ground. So far so good. Now let's move on to the trees. I made the bottom dark and made some wood grains along the trunk. Then I finish it off by coloring the tree with red and brown tints. Same thing with the rest of the trees, although I was rushing and I was just adding some lines if I wanted to. I continued drawing more trunks, added some darker spots to the leaves, and made some cover the trunks. Then I swiftly created the trees on the background, gave it some fog using the airbrush tool. I finally got to do the rain droplets after a bunch of failed attempts. And now the only element that we need left are the batteries that are going to be lodged into the trees. So the battery will be showcasing its water levels and the rain is charging it up. The glowing lightning bolt symbol is putting emphasis on that. I know, really interesting. I also did the typical copy and paste the battery to other trees while slightly modifying the bar because I had almost no time, or maybe because I was just lazy. I also added these white strokes that look like lightning bolts. This was just a last minute addition and it was just done by impulse. And then I just waited for the time to pass. I could definitely say that this is my best forest art. It captures the feel of the forest, and the rain, cloudy sky, and vignette emphasizes it more. Even though it's less realistic, its feel and presentation definitely triumphs. I think I used the elements in the right way. That's all I have to say, and let's move on to the next art. This only took me about 40 minutes and I decided to show you what the art looks like up front here. Yes, I know it is really something. So, to make the sun, I used the help of blending. So I clicked the blending mode and selected add. And this mode helps make the layer generally more brighter and intense. Using the airbrush, I made the glow, added some sparkles, and I added the face to it. I also use the add blending mode for the light on top of the folder coming from the sun, and the light on the floor as well. So the folder acts as the body, and I added a poster stamp and paper on it. And I made the character hold a piece of paper with some bright facts. Honestly, it's finished. I don't really have anything else to add. I was trying to think on what I should add next, like a background, but honestly, this is good enough. Let's start with the sky. So I drew the sun with a little bit of a lens flare and some clouds. I used the cloud brush for this, and you can download this brush over here. After that, I drew the basket. I used the radial and circle snap as a tool to help me create a basket that is falling down diagonally. Now I don't really know on how to draw a basket, so references will help me out. I created these zigzag lines, like the ones that you can see in a basket, and made this design inspired from this image. Most of the time was spent making this design on the whole basket. It doesn't really look great, but it's good considering how much time I had left, which was probably still a lot. Ignore the copy paste. I again used the circle snap for the handle. As you can see, I made these arcs. And now that's the basket done. Probably took me about 20 minutes to actually finish it, so I started drawing the base of the flowers. There's a rose, a yellow flower, and a white flower. Oh yeah, also a pink flower. These colors are warm colors and are the opposite of the sky, so that's what your eyes will focus to first. Okay, flower detail time. Now to finish this off, I wanted to add some white lines that create this falling effect. But how though? I used the radial snap as to make the perspective neat, and I drew some white lines with the help of my pen. I also decided to make the basket and the flowers more heavenly. Don't question it. But it makes this sort of aura that makes it differentiate from the sky. But yeah, there isn't really anything else here to continue. This is already pretty good, and after some slight modifications and 5 minutes left remaining, I can say this is complete. If I was going to pick which artwork is the best, I would pick the first one. Its detail and overall atmosphere makes it the best. The second one makes it up for its weirdness, and the last one challenged me on perspective and effect, and I must say I'm proud of all of these artworks. All of these are really good, but I want your comment over these arts, and I want you to try and do this, if you want to. I hope you learned something, and I hope this inspired you too. Also, you could use wheelofnames.com as the randomizer. It's way easier, but I totally forgot about it. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn about uses of the airbrush in Medibang, click here. And if not, go and do what you're meant to be doing.